All right, we are streaming and we are live. All right, good to go. Let's do this. So exciting. All right, we'll wait just a few minutes until we get maybe a few more folks in, and then we'll go and get started. It'll give me an opportunity to kind of get set up a little bit more. So this is the very first IRL stream that I will be doing, and the topic is the Investopedia Quarter 3 stock picks game, and I'll go into some more detail with that one when I start actually going through the website here. But basically, it's a stock market simulator focused on the third quarter of the fiscal year. I think it's fiscal, not calendar year. And basically, we're just going to go through what that's all about, how the simulation works, and how we've been doing in the game, and what kind of, why bother with something like this, right? As far as finances and money and all that stuff, and kind of just discuss stock picking ideas, and we'll take it from there. All right, we'll just wait a few minutes to kind of let folks kind of filter in and see what's going on, and we'll have a discussion for we'll see let's see how much time we eat up. We'll see. Okay, let's go ahead and get started here. All right, guys, good afternoon. I'm Rodin, and today we'll be going over our Investopedia Quarter 3 stock picks game. For those of you guys who are not familiar with Investopedia, it's basically a website where it's a really good resources for anything related to finances, stock markets, money matters. It's a really good website. It's been around for a long time, and they actually have a function in that website. It's basically a stock simulator. That's what you're seeing in the screen right now. Oh, AJ Cross. Like about to say, dang, 100K investment. Yeah, it's fake money, bro. It's fake money. It's fake money. Relax. But it's great. You know what I mean? It's great because it's like I don't think I can. Let me see if I can actually show the different games that are available. I think I can. I can only show my game. No, I can only show my game. But this is what we're in right now. Investopedia Competition Quarter 3, 2017. All right. But if you were to start this up, so it's just investopedia.com. I'll put that in the link here. And then from there, oh, hey, Judas. And then from there, there's gonna be a on like the top links there. It's called Simulator, and from there you need to create an account, log in, and then you can start to join any games. There are several games in there that run forever, and that's okay if you just want to kind of see what it's all about. You know, if you want to dabble in the stock market world without really committing your money, this is a great tool. I highly recommend folks actually do this. The very first time I started trading stocks, I didn't actually do simulations of any sort. I kind of just jumped right into it. I did learn a lot doing it that way, but at the same time I probably could have saved myself some money by doing simulations, right, or paper trading, fake trading. All right. So we're about 2 weeks into joining this game. We actually have folks that are in this same game that are in our Discord. I'll link that Discord as well. All right, and for those of you guys who don't know, we're actually a community out of EVE Online, the video game. It's a space-themed MMO. It's pretty brutal, but they have a very robust market aspect to that video game, and that's kind of, that Discord is basically a bunch of players playing a space game that has a really realistic market, and now we're doing fake stock market stuff. Just bear with us. All right, so that's again, I'm Rodin, and that's what we do. And so we talked about what the website is. These are our picks. Basically, so we're gonna kind of go through the different aspects of the website right now, see what we can, to see what I can show you. All right, so the very first part here, basically, let's look at the rankings here. So we got our name here. We have our account value. You start off with 100,000 fake US dollars when you do the game. And it's pretty realistic in how it actually calculates the funds. It's not, it will account for some form of standardized fees and taxes in there. So it's not just, because that adds realism to it, right? It's not just oh, I bought $100,000 worth of stocks and I'm only spending $100,000 worth. Like, no, there's taxes involved, there's fees involved, there's all those things. So it does take that into account in a standardized manner. And of course, there's ranks. So right now, I'm ranked 55, about 3 weeks deep into this. But let's look at how many players we actually have in this specific game. Rank 55 out of 715. That's pretty cool. Don't get too caught up with the rankings. A lot of these, once you get to the website and you start scrolling through the ranks, a lot of the folks in here have hardly any movement on their account value, so they're probably inactive. But it's still a pretty good rank, right? It's still a pretty good rank. And honestly, the only reason it even got to there was because I'm not nearly as active with these picks. I'm kind of just taking it super slow. I haven't sold any stocks yet. I've just been buying. Of course, feel free to shoot up some questions here in chat. We don't have an overlay, unfortunately, for the actual stream for it because the screen is very busy, and it will be busier here shortly. All right, so that's kind of it. So Q3, so that runs for the next 3 months. All right, so we started in June, so I think it goes June, July, August, I think. And then I guess the game will close from there. If there's added interest for this type of content, we'll probably maybe do our own game to see, to see who the best fake trader is. All right, so now how do we get to these picks? That's probably going to be a good place to start. You definitely can use Investopedia as your main source of for a research tool. You definitely can. However, I do have a Scottrade account that I use to actually so I can use the research tools there. But we can do that right now. For the most, don't get too caught up with do you need a proper brokerage account to access the best research tools? Yes and no. A lot of times like Yahoo has a finance section, right? And it has it offers like a super, the base the bare necessities to identify good stocks and bad stocks. You definitely can just do that. I just like using the Scottrade one because I do intend to actually use that program and that website to do real life trades. So I really should get used to the interface of the different modules that are available in that website. All right, so before we get into like the picks and how we get there, I'd like to actually kind of backtrack a little bit into some history for myself and kind of how I got into like trading and money markets and stuff like that. I've actually been doing trading for over 10 years now, on and off. Not very active recent in the most, yeah, not active recently though. Okay, but it's not new to me, so that's the biggest takeaway there. Um, if I were able to go back in time, I would prefer to actually have done something like this before jumping in with real money, because it would have been safer, and it would have been more methodical. I kind of just jumped into it kind of haphazardly. I learned a lot because I was playing with real money right from the get-go, and I am glad that I didn't lose too much. I was at a slight loss, if anything, just from taxes and stuff, but it's like, break even to slight loss, so not a lot of gains. That's fine. I learned a lot though. And then I was actually already using Scottrade as well, so that's what I'm using right now. All right, and then from there, I just kept up with learning about stocks, learning about money markets in general, and then being also an Eve player, the video game, the MMO Eve Online. There's a lot of analogies that can be made between real life markets and Eve. It's really really creepy how it's that how close it is, and that's kind of what kept me like mentally in the loop as far as keeping up to date with my studies with finances and stocks and stuff like that. All right, so let's go to progress. All right, so for the past 3 weeks, so we were up to rank 55 right now. I was as low. This is the highest rank that I've achieved. I was as low as like rank 650 something, I think, last week. And yeah, it's I haven't sold any stocks yet. I just been buying, so that's kind of the premise there too. I don't use I just use Investopedia for the actual like fake stock game tracking portion of it. I do almost all of my research in the actual Scottrade website because it's a nice single website to go to get all that stuff. Okay, so that's what we're gonna actually do right now. Oh, hey, Jonica. I was going to buy 100,000 shares of whoever owns Club Penguin. Shit. All right, so this is we're gonna get started, guys. All right, so we're gonna start with our watch list. So this is the Scottrade website. I'm gonna start with our watch list right here. So this is the watch list that we've developed so far. And a lot of the picks that you saw in the Investopedia website actually came from this watch list. And most of them are up. It's been pretty seesaw the last 2 weeks, but it's just the nature of the game. All right, so we're gonna get started with actually reviewing the items that we have in the Investopedia stock simulator and how they're doing. So we'll start with that. I'm going to be kind of going back and forth between the websites here. All right, so our first pick here was Eldorado Gold Corporation. I was so hopeful for this stock, man. I really was. I really thought it was gonna go back. All right, so in websites like Scottrade, a lot of different brokerage websites out there offer very, very similar modules for identifying stocks and actually buying and selling them. I don't think any of the stuff that you see right now with Scottrade is proprietary to just Scottrade. I don't think so. If that's not the case, please let me know. But I think they're pretty similar. And let's see, where did we buy this at? So we're actually at a loss for this stock. Total gains / losses, we're at a total net loss of minus 5.3% since buying it. Sucks. All right. The very first, so when I look at these stocks, the first thing I do, I don't jump right into the charts right away. So actually that's a good thing to go over. A lot of people, so I'm mostly a technical analysis type of guy, but before I actually so what is technical analysis? So technical analysis is the actual act of looking into the charts, like the actual chart work, the visual aids, going into that part of the information and see if it's a viable thing to buy and sell. Okay. Before I actually get into that, I look into the fundamentals. I first have to identify, is the company actually profitable? First and foremost, it's got to make money, right? So a lot of people kind of get stuck on like the way the charts are, and they have all these indicators, and they have all these kind of voodoo methods to identify if the number is going to go back up or go down. But first and foremost, you have to see if the company is good. If the company is good, then you can use technical analysis to identify where and when to buy and sell. So hopefully that makes sense. All right, so let's start with the news, since we're already kind of here in this part. Okay. So latest news and headlines for Eldorado Gold Corporation. Eldorado Gold and Integra Gold, complete plan of arrangement. I'm kind of confused with this news, because it sounds like they're merging with another company. That's kind of the gist of it. They're merging. Oh, Judas. So this is fake money. Are these companies fictional? No, these companies are not fictional. The stocks that you may only use in the Investopedia stock market game have to be real stocks. So that's what I gather from this. It's some sort of we're merging with. This will be the first few paragraphs here. The company, or Eldorado, is pleased to announce the successful completion of the plan of arrangement, involving Integra Gold Corporation, originally announced on May 15, 2017. The arrangement was approved by the shareholders of Integra at its special meeting on July 4, 2017, and received approval from the Supreme Court of British Columbia on July 7, 2017. Pursuant to the arrangement, Integra shareholders will collectively receive, for all the issued common shares of Integra that Eldorado did not already own, approximately $129 million cash and 77 million common shares of Eldorado. All right, so it is definitely. So the two companies are merging, all right, or being one's acquiring the other, right? All right, Judas asks, so this is live data, except you're only playing with fake money. Yes, that is correct. That is correct. So it's like training, I guess. Yeah, that's the closest thing I guess I can really, kind of relate that to is training. All right. So I had bought the stocks of this company in the Investopedia game before this news came out. Now let's see how the charts are looking. It's not good. Spoiler alert. So this is the default view of the stocks when you look at them in Scottrade. It's not very useful right now. I actually have created my own settings. And let me discuss the different parts of it. All right, so we're looking at, first of all, this is a much longer view, a 1-year view of the stocks, followed by 2 simple moving averages, a 5-day and a 20-day moving average. It's to identify trends, basically. It definitely is helpful when you have 2 of them with differing timelines. Then we, of course, have volume. It's a really good indicator to keep. And relative strength index, RSI. Along with letting you know how the patterns are as far as the moving averages go. This is an oscillator type of indicator, and it focuses on sentiments of being overbought or oversold. So that news came right around this part right here, and we had bought it like right here. So, and the reason I bought it right there because it was near the 1-year lows. I was like, oh man, I mean, just by virtue of its history, there's a really good chance it's just gonna bounce up from here, just by virtue of being by virtue of being oversold. But that news came, and the news of the acquisition, and it flopped even more. So I'm like, sucks. All right. So that's one stock that we own. We're probably gonna end up holding on to this, to be honest. I'm pretty sure that I can at least slightly make up the lost ground by the time the quarter game is done. All right, so that's one of our losers. Let's talk about one of our winners from the Investopedia. All right, so who's our biggest winner here? Our biggest winner is this one. 4.23% gain. Apple. All right, Apple. Everybody knows Apple. All right, it's a common stock that folks own. Lots of volume, lots of people buy and sell it. Okay? So let's look at that. So this is the last kind of historical example we'll look at, and then we'll do a fresh look to identify which stocks to buy for the game. So Apple, its ticker is AAPL. Same thing. It's best to look. Are there websites out there that you don't have, that aren't necessarily brokerages that kind of give you this type of information? There are, like, a lot of the news sites that have a finance section will offer this. It just may not be as neatly organized as it is here. All right, for news, what's going on here? Micron may be headed for a fall. The market for memory chips has been on fire this year, which has been very good for shares of the handful of manufacturers, including Micron Technology. But the end of that great run in memory may be just around the corner. Not too sure how that pertains to Apple. Let's take a look. Why is this being put under the Apple news? I'm not too keen on like the manufacturer side of this, but it looks like it makes sense. One thing that is kind of nice when you focus on technical analysis mostly is the fundamentals and the sentiment and all that stuff that's baked into the price action. It has to be baked into the price action. Otherwise, people would not have been compelled to either buy or sell them. Okay, so that may be kind of confusing, but I guess think of it this way. If you were only to focus on one type of method to at least give you a good health check of the stock, try to focus on learning more of the technical analysis. At a glance, you should be able to identify whether the stock and or company is healthy by doing that. It's not going to give you the whole picture, but I think it gives you a better picture and a faster picture versus digging into fundamental analysis, which basically leads you into digging into their books. It can take a lot of time. All right. All right, so let's look at their charts. Oh, sorry, one thing to look at too, you got the news and you got earnings. Using this website or any brokerage website, it should link you to their SEC filings. So the SEC is the Exchange Commission. It's the regulating body of all the stocks that are bought and sold in the US markets. I'm almost certain that also includes over-the-counters as well, like the really, really small micro stocks, like the legit penny stocks, okay? I'm not going to go into these right now because Apple is a huge company and they do a lot of different type of SEC filings. So we're not necessarily going to look into that right now, but I definitely encourage folks to become accustomed to how to read those, and sometimes just how to find them. They're actually pretty easy to read and understand, but where to find them is I think is much more important. But let's look at their financials. Is the company making money? As I mentioned earlier, you know, it's a tough sell for me to buy a stock of a company that's not making money. That doesn't make sense, you know. All right, this has got annual view. I almost always will prefer quarterly view. It's a much narrower look to see if people are making money. Okay, so the last several quarters making money. The revenue is positive. That's a good sign. Positive revenue. Operating income. All right, so that's income, and you've already taken into account the cost of doing business for the most part. So they're still up, so it's net positive. And talk about taxes here. All right, so it's a profitable company. That's the gist of it. It's a profitable. It's a quarter for quarter, a profitable company. Great stock. Now, where do we buy and sell the stocks? That's the next question that is solved by using technical analysis. All right, so we bought. I'm going to crunch this view down to the last 3 months, just so that it's a little bit more digestible. We had bought this right around here. So I was figuring, oh, it's starting to plateau, you know, that's good. I'm pretty confident based on the profitability, based on the appearance of the charts and the technical indicators, that it should, at the very least, maybe go sideways for a little longer and then start reversing, which it did. We find ourselves over here now. All right. So the 5-day moving average, which is the purple line, is now above the 20-day moving average, which is the green line. So that's a very, very clear sign of an upward trend. Great. And we've already bought into it at a lower price than what it's already displaying now. Awesome. Volume has been steady, so no crazy volume. Like if this increase was followed by high volume that's kind of out of the ordinary, I would take that as a really, really good positive sign, and would probably compel me to buy even more of it. Okay. An upward price movement along with an increase in volume is a really, really big sign. Okay, relative strength index. It tells us if it's overbought or oversold. The overbought mark is 80 and above. The oversold mark is 20 and below. I haven't used RSI in a while. Last time I was using it a few years ago, overbought was like at 70. Yeah, like 65, 70. So I guess as time went by and people figured out the math and they kind of adjusted it. So right now it's slightly going towards overbought, but not too crazy, and it probably can maintain that for a while. And I have photo bombers behind me. All right, video bombers have been corrected. All right, so and those are examples of a losing stock that we own and a winning stock that we own. So now let's go to the motions of how to find new stocks to buy for our game. First, let's go back to the Investopedia website and let's look at some raw numbers here. Just want to make sure. All right, I should see it. All right, so I'm just looking at the basic information here, basic account information. So right here, account value over 100,000. So we're above where we started. Great. Buying power. How much stock can we buy? We can buy $70,000 worth of stocks, or at least place the order. Now, and we'll go through the motions of this. We'll go through the motions. $50,000 in cash. Annual return of 23.24%. So that's a really, really good projection. Can you imagine earning 23.24% annual return on anything? On anything. That's crazy. This gives you really a good idea of how scaled market activities can be. So, I mean, if you were compelled to do this a little more seriously, like treat it like a second job. Yeah, I think you could. I think you really could use this to break yourself free from the rat race. All right, so we got plenty of money to work with. Good to know. All right, let's go through our screeners. We're gonna focus primarily on stocks right now, but be aware that that game will also allow you to buy electronically traded funds, which is basically, they're similar to mutual funds in that they're a group of stocks placed under that behave as a single asset. Okay. Maybe we can discuss that in a future episode if folks want to continue to watch this stuff. But for now, let's focus on stocks. Okay, so this is our screener. We're gonna identify the categories that we're gonna use right now. We're not gonna use any of the pre-made screeners right now. Okay, market segment. What's that all about? Okay, market cap. Think of this as how much of a footprint in the industry they have. How big is the company? Component of exchange, so New York Stock Exchange, NASDAQ, and New York Stock Exchange market. I don't really see the value too much in doing that, for our purposes at least. Component, Dow Jones, S&P 400, S&P 500, kind of irrelevant for us. Sector industry, don't care too much about it. I don't use the market, as you can see, I don't use the market segment portion too much. I'll probably use it for cap, that's it. International investing, let's do domestic, just for giggles. Okay, let's stick to domestic. Fundamental. The only thing I really keep in fundamental is the PE ratio. That's a profit to earnings ratio. Basically, how much, think of it this way. A high PE ratio is good. That means that the company is growing. However, you have to be aware that there are industry averages. So keep that in mind. Just because it's a really, really high number doesn't necessarily mean it's a good company. Maybe for that given industry or subsection of that industry, that's actually plain, that's actually standard. So be aware of that. So let's go above average and above industry average. So it's a large, we're looking for domestic growing companies so far. That's what we've selected so far. And now we're down to 1,850 companies. Getting there. Price performance, I don't care too much about it. Although I do like to see share prices. How much is it? How much is this stuff? Oh, sorry, no, this is the wrong one. This is the wrong one. Let's actually keep nothing checked here. If you were compelled to, I only want to buy stocks that are between $1 and $100, you can do that. Okay. For giggles, let's see how much that is. It's probably a whole, let's cut it down to $1 to $5 given this. Okay. Just for giggles, let's keep that. So far we've screened out domestic companies that can do international investing, above industry average PE ratio, so it's companies that are growing, and stocks between $1 and $5. Okay, and we've had 79 hits so far. Okay, that's a lot larger than I thought there would be, to be honest. A lot larger. Earnings and dividends, I don't care too much about it because I'm not sure how that actually plays into the quarterly stock game as far as real life dividends. So that's why I kind of just ignore it. For realsies though, for real stock things, you should probably at least identify if there is dividends. Okay. Technicals we're going to leave blank. Because we kind of like to see the base material to see how, and then identify from there. Okay. So let's see what we get from there. Let's VO these 79 matches. Hopefully we can get at least like 1 or 2 picks from this. Alright, so once you got your screener up, it's going to go through different tabs. Got the summary, price performance tab, the actual price of the, how is it performing historically. Fundamentals, PE ratio. So these are valuation tools. These are valuation numbers. Okay. The one that I really like to focus on, because that's the one I have an easier time understanding it, is actually just the PE ratio. Earnings and dividends, don't really care too much about it. It's for giggles. So for giggles, let's focus on the larger market caps. So why would we want to look at larger market caps first? The reason is the pricing is more stable and they're more established companies, generally speaking. Okay. And kind of let's just go through the motions here. Avon products, consumer non-cyclicals, personal and household products and services. I know Avon. I think a lot of people know Avon. So let's take a look, see how they're doing. I kind of have a hard time believing they're under $5. That's crazy. All right, let's look at some the news here since we're on the news section already. Anyway, Avon products started at neutral with $4.25 stock price target at D.A. Davidson. Okay. Earnings. Okay. Look at the earnings. I'm curious. It saves us time to not have to look at earnings later. So this was 9 days ago. Okay, there's this. Oh, it's news of an earnings call. Boo. Sorry, guys. Let's look at their prediction thing here. Okay, so that's another thing. All right. All right, being a big company, we might get too lost in the sauce here with the SEC filings. So let's jump into their financials. Again, you're more than welcome to bounce between annual and quarterly earnings numbers. Me personally, I prefer quarterly. Total revenue, okay. Pretty ballpark throughout the quarters, okay. Total of revenue, cost of revenue. All right, slightly better this quarter versus last quarter, okay. Operating income. There was still income, but low income as far as this most recent quarter. Let's see how that translates to the stock price. I don't know, man. I don't know. Well, I think it's worth watching. I don't think it's worth buying right now. Let's go to the last 3 months. Okay. It's coming off a recent high, and now the averages are trending it downwards. I think this is worth watching. I'll put this in my watch list for sure. It's greatly reduced volume too, man, after this. Our size is right down the middle, so it's neither overbought nor oversold. It's probably going to move sideways for a while, but I think it's worth putting in a watch list, simply because it's a household name. It's a big name. They have a large market cap. Boom, add to watch list. Good to go. All right, we're not gonna buy that. All right, next one. Federal Home Loan Mortgage Corp. The component is OTC. That means it's like a penny stock type item. J. Cross says Moonpatch is going to drive prices up. Probably. Probably. So this is like I almost feel like I'm doing my Eve Station trading stream now, just with real numbers. That's cool. Let's take a look at this. I'm not looking. It's actually got decent volume, 471K. Moody's assigns provisional ratings to Freddie Mac Whole Loan Securities Trust. If we buy this, it's going to be purely on technicals. Purely on technicals. This company's been making money. Less though, but they're still making money. Let's see what the charts look like. Oh, actually, I might buy this on charts. Just on chart work. Yep, I'm gonna buy this. I'm gonna buy this. Yeah. All right. So we've established that this is a profitable company, and it's had profit quarter for quarter. Looking at the price action though, it looks like it's hit the, at least within the last 3 months, this seems to be this price right here, between, that's like what, 218 or something. That's probably the floor of the pricing. The last 3 days worth is actually kind of revealing. Like the last, like this mark right here and this mark. If I was looking at this yesterday, that would have led me to believe that this is going to go sideways for a while. However, the last day ended at ended higher than when it started. It may go sideways for a while, but I think this is generally starting to trend upwards. So yeah, I'm gonna buy this. So this is FMCC. Okay, I'm gonna go to trade. I'm gonna find that stock, FMCC. Oh, it doesn't recognize it because it's an OTC item. Dang, that sucks. Alright, we can't buy it. I'll put this in my personal watch list though. Actually, no, I shouldn't because it's OTC. It's a common stock. It's OTC. It's OTC. It's not. I shouldn't. Technicals look good though. Good enough. Or at least it piques my curiosity enough. I shouldn't say good enough. It piques my curiosity enough. No news for this company at all. Okay, there's positive revenue. There's income. It's a chemicals company. It gives you a dividend of 2.48%. On the real, this is good. We just missed the boat on this too. Dang. Just missed the boat on this. This looks good though. I'll put this in my watch list actually, personally. Yeah, put this in my watch list. Alright, next item. I'm kind of just going down the line here. Let's look at maybe 1 or 2 more, and if not, I did find 2 other items to actually look into that I was intending to buy right from the get-go. Just in case we ran into something like this today. As you can tell, it's quite time-consuming to actually, even with really good screening methods. Well, I mean, so concerning the screening methods, if you screen too tight, you may not get a good result at all. You may not get a result, you know. But if you screen too wide, this is kind of what we're doing right now. There just may be too much selection. Okay, so that's something you have to figure out with yourself as a trader. As how much risk are you gonna be okay with, you know? And how much time are you gonna be okay with to actually do this? Because this takes, you know, takes research. You know what I mean? This is and this is, we're doing this for a game. You know what I mean? And this is bare bones research we're doing right now. Super bare bones. If we were doing this for real, I would do a lot more fundamental analysis work. A lot more. Okay. Unfortunately, that's not really the scope of the stream right now. Like, again, if there's interest in it, I'd be more than happy to go over that kind of stuff with you guys. If there's interest in learning and knowing about this stuff together, right? I'd buy this on technicals alone. I would legit buy this on technicals alone. It's gonna go sideways for a while. I'm okay with that though. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. Okay. Parabolic star is not a very good indicator for this. It's an oscillator like the RSI, but it works a lot better for something that actually almost cyclically goes up and down, up and down, up and down, like Microsoft. Like using a parabolic star, that's the name of the technical analysis indicator right now. Stop parabolic, stop and reverse. Right now, it's indicating that's a buy. Like, hey, you should buy this. You should buy this. Okay, let's buy it. Let's buy it. Let's buy it. It's not OTC, so it should allow us to search it in Investopedia. So this is SVU, Super Value Inc. All right, we're intending to buy this. It's going to be a limit order. So think of limit orders as I will only buy this once it reaches this exact price point. Not a penny more, not a penny less. Limit. So we're going to go whatever the last transaction was, which was $3.29. We're going to go 1 cent over that. But we're going to try to buy this for $3.30. How many? 5,000 units. Actually, it's cheaper. Let's buy 10,000 units. Actually, that's too much. Let's buy 1,000. Day order. So if we don't get this on the next business day, then we don't. We will just we missed out on a buying opportunity. That's fine. So just as I mentioned earlier in the beginning, even though it's a game, it takes into account a base commission. Okay. All right. So at least we're able to identify and buy one. That's good. Veronica asks from chat, you think it's smarter to do your buys for the next day at night or early morning? Unless you're intending to unless you have the platform to properly do intraday trading, Veronica, those orders will basically stay there until they're either matched or, you know, the circumstances don't allow it to be matched and you just lose out the order. For me personally, the way I would do the way I did that buy order just there, that's exactly how I would do it if this was for real. Literally 1 ISK up the buy. Just like in game, man. Just like in game, just 1 ISK up the buy. And one thing, we actually didn't look into that, but the volume. So you notice we only went for 1,000 units of stock. for a bit over $3,000 total. We have actually afforded, was that a viable volume for the stock, 1,000 units? Actually it is, it's incredibly viable. This is nearing 5 million units traded a day on average, so yeah, 1,000 units is doable. Dude, if you're like an Eve station trader, consider playing around with real stocks, even if we have not run out a lot of money, even if it's just for the education. Consider it. I feel like we're one-isking the stock market, man. We're legit one-isking the stock market. This is awesome. It's an Eve Online joke for you guys. All right, so we got one in. Let's search for one more. Actually, let's look at these other let's look at the two that I've selected earlier today. At least we got one off of kind of a blind screener. Veronica says Eve players crashed the New York Stock Exchange. Dude, at the high level, it's super similar, right? Super similar because it's broker related, right? It's not, you know what I mean? It's not like a traditional. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. We're talking about the video game Eve Online. It's not like the traditional auction house setup, right? It's a brokerage setup. All right, so let's look at these two that I've found earlier today. TRT. Triotech International. Semiconductors and semiconductor equipment. A lot of times, guys, when I run into these types of stocks, they tend to be like basic materials, mining, and superconductors are super heavy Chinese influence. Take that for what it is. That's just what I've been observing. Not saying one thing or another. That's all I'm saying. Chinese stocks, man. Chinese companies can play in our stock market. I'll tell you that right now. They have a Chinese companies have a presence here. They just do. All right. Versus its peers, TRT is doing really well. Okay. Anything on news? No. Financial. They made profit. Charts. All right. Again, we're gonna squish it down to the last 3 months just to make it more digestible. Okay. So now we're basically, you have the 5-day moving average, which is the purple line, crossing over the 20-day moving average, which is the green line. And that is a classical sign of hey, this is something you should buy. It is something that's picking up value. And we will. we're gonna buy this simply on technicals. Simply on technicals. It's not displaying a whole lot of big earnings or anything like that, but relative to its industry peers, it's actually doing it's doing incredibly better. Okay, and that's honestly good enough for me, because a lot of this stuff, they're not hard numbers. They're super subjective, because you have to consider the sector and the industry, and maybe even subsections of that sector or industry. Okay. It's pretty flat on the RSI. Oh yeah, that's fine. I think we're getting this at a sale. Think about it that way. You know, when you're trying to buy a stock from a company that's doing well, you're basically just trying to get it on a sale. That's all you're trying to do. You're just trying to get it on a bargain. That's it, because there's inherent value in owning a piece of that profitable company already. Just want to get it on sale. That's all. this is TRT. Again, it's a buy. Limit just a penny up, so 4.91. We're gonna do another 1,000. We're doing small ball stuff like this, guys, so that we want to increase our stock diversity, so that we're kind of covering, we have presence in multiple industries and multiple sectors. So let's say I don't know, the basic materials sector craps out. John says trading trick classic. Dude, like, that was the ticker, man. TRT was the ticker. I did not make this up. Did not make this up. Not rigged. Like it's almost kind of really creepy how TRT is it's something to do with our video game again. I'm sorry, guys. We're gonna try to keep away from that stuff, but sometimes you just can't get away. I'm gonna buy 1,000 units of this, and just for the day. All right, great. And one more item that I found. For lower cap types of companies, guys, metal and mining companies, energy related, you can find even good stock performing companies that are cheap, under $5 per stock. This is one of them. So this is B2 Gold Corporation. It's based out of Canada. Gold price is up after indexes tumble. Okay. All right, so it's a price correction on gold, and this is a minerals company. All right, good to go. Financials. Okay, increasing revenue. Oh, not on quarterly view at least. There is a positive revenue though. There is profit. Good enough for me. Chart. Yeah, this is worth buying. It's worth buying. Just for giggles, add the parabolic SAR as an indicator. I used to use the parabolic SAR almost religiously, man. Religious. Just got away from it. I'd buy this, even though it's not quite showing a buy signal with the parabolic SAR. I'm okay getting ahead. I'm okay getting ahead. Or getting ahead of the indicator. I'm okay with this. It is below average right now, and it is a profitable company. Yeah, I'll buy it. I'll buy it at this price point. I'm okay with that. Okay, so this is BTG. Okay, a penny up, so 2.72. Another 1,000. It'll give us more room as we move forward, more buy opportunities, right? But there's gonna come a time where it's like put up or shut up time, where hey, you gotta use all this monies. Probably do that for more established stocks, or maybe even ETFs straight up, because they encompass many stocks together. 1,000 units for the day. All right. Cool. Well, we just been out here for an hour. I think we got some really good information as far as the Investopedia game, the Investopedia website as a resource. We did some stock screeners in Scottrade, and we went over some order mechanics. That's a lot of information. I'm pretty happy with what we covered. Hopefully, we'll be able to keep this up, and I definitely want to give you guys an update on the game, see how we're doing. So right now we're ranked 55. Maybe every other week or so, or honestly once a week is fine. Once a week should be doable. I'd like to definitely do this again. It's really fun. It's really fun to do something different besides just streaming video games. Although I do enjoy that a lot as well, right? But it's kind of, you know, to round out the experience. All right, well, unless folks have a question, I think we're gonna go ahead and close it. This is a really good first stream, guys. I really appreciate everyone who showed up and threw out some questions out there. And I'll see about actually developing some better overlays. I know it's super basic right now. It's basically, you know, web browser with face cam. That's really that's all we got right now. But it doesn't seem like there's enough real estate on the screen to really accommodate large overlays. But we'll work on that. But again, I appreciate it, guys. And so this will be, I may do some editing on this one, but it'll be up on my YouTube and Twitch channels. All right. Well, again, thank you very much, guys. And we'll go ahead and cut the stream. Thanks.